Hello, my name is Krosci. I am 18 years old, I'm from Hungary and I've got around 1000 hours in KovaaKs. I've been only recording in training videos so far, only of a few runs I thought were good, so my voice might be a bit of a surprise for you guys, but that doesn't really matter, so let's get right into it. As you might have known, or you might have not known, I've been teasing my followers on Twitter for 2 weeks about these routines, and I think I'm at a point where I can already share them, because I've been perfecting them ever since I've made the first tweet about them. I'm pretty sure most of you have already heard this quote from Bruce Lee, which sounds like this.
This is what it is, okay? I said empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Now let's see how this inspired me to create these routines. There's this part where Bruce says water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. This quote has been in my mind ever since I've heard it. Because of the lack of science about aim training and the right way of doing it, I decided to dig into some philosophy and ideologies, and the thing I found was that martial arts are the closest thing to aiming, in my opinion. If you think about it, you can always hone your technique, both in aiming, both in martial arts. You have to get the basics down to the bone, and the ability to adapt is key, especially in real fights or in real games. If we take a look at how these two routines are built, you can see that they are complete opposites of each other, yet they complement each other. Because of this fact, I decided to name them Yin and Yang. Yin is to help you learn and or hone your technique to perfection. As Bruce has once said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. As you can see, this routine is a lot longer than most you can find out there, but bear with me. You don't have to play the whole thing through, and this is very important. You should be playing this on the least randomized option, every scenario 3 to 5 times in a row, till to a point when you feel like you're done. You repeat one scenario so many times in order to help you get the feeling of the scenario down and to actually learn from it, not to just play it. The instructions for this routine are very simple. On static scenarios, applying the Bart pill would be the best. Bart pill is a technique to practice static, which is more about going for good form than speed. For tracking, smoothly adjusting back onto the target would be the best course of action. Most would say that could create bad habits, but I think not being able to read the bot creates more bad habits than slow adjusting back onto the bot. For target switching, I've seen a lot of beginner to intermediate players flick not perfectly onto the target, but just like very close. And then they have to do something called a micro adjustment, where they have to put their cursor back onto the target. This usually takes a lot of time, So eliminating this micro correction process while practicing and not going for scores is something I encourage. The other routine, called Young, has two versions of it, and let me explain why. I wanted to give some players the option to benchmark themselves while playing the routine. So I made one version with the old Sparky, current voltaic and current RA benchmarks with it, and the other without those scenarios. So if someone wants to mix benchmarking while preventing hard grinding them and playing scenarios which require you to adapt constantly, they are given the option. However, if you only want to train this adaptive way, you can use the other version. This Young routine focuses more on the water can crash part. This routine requires a lot more physical and mental effort than the other one. So if you've taken a look at it already, it might seem too hard, but just wait a bit for me so I can explain my thought process on using these routines. So instructions for this Young routine would be: for static, you try to push the speed of your initial flicks and the speed of your confirmation part. If you miss, go for the next target like nothing happened, like you don't have to Bart peel this one, restarting when you miss more than 3 times. Try to minimize overflicking. When tracking, try to flick onto the target as fast as possible. I know this is the exact opposite of what I told you in the other routine, but this is what makes this so interesting. However, try not to overflick, because that will fuck your aim and reading up real bad. For target switching, push speed like a madman, just play like your Unans or Viscos and then go ham. Playing this, you will see that it's a 1x1 routine, and you should play it on the totally randomized function, because that will give you more variety and it will force adaptability a lot more than if you kept playing the same order of scenarios again and again. Okay, so how do I use these, you might ask? The more you feel like a beginner, the more you should use the Yin routine. The more you feel like an advanced player, the more you should use the Yang routine. Finding a balance between the two will be your job, and I can only give you some suggestions to help you find this balance. I'd recommend playing both of these routines for like 30 to 60 minutes, one routine a day. If I were a complete beginner, I'd play the Yin routine every day for like 1 to 2 weeks. In case I felt too slow in game or I felt no progression, I'd add one play of Yang routine a week. If you're already an intermediate player or you consider yourself to be one, I'd start with 6 or 5 Yin routines and 1 or 2 Yang routines. The more advanced you get, the more the balance of Yin and Yang should shift to the Yang side. However, I don't recommend playing only one of these routines, because it might lead to bad habits. As I've told you before, these two routines are a pair. They were made to complement each other. So let's continue with some important information at the end of the video. So there are some scenarios where you have to move. I list those here. And there are some end notes, quick tips I'd like to share with you guys. So don't play too much, 1 to 1.5 hours is perfect, if not too much for some. Binding fire to space on tracking and switching scenarios is a good way of getting the relaxed feel down you should always have when you're aiming. Progress can be mostly seen averages, not in high scores if we're looking at statistics, but there's a big but here. Intuition and feeling is a better way to tell if you're progressing or not, especially if you have a game you're actively playing. Static visuals should look like this, tracking visuals should look like this. If they don't, you're either weird or a very advanced player, or maybe both. Sensitivity should be around the middle ground for most, which is, I think, the 27 to 37 centimeters per revolution or 360. If you don't know what this means, check out this document you can find in the resources channel on the Voltaic Discord, where I am very active because I'm a moderator here. Too small of a crosshair will make you worry too much about precision, and too big crosshairs won't allow you to see your target well enough, so try to find a middle ground. 0.8 to 1.0 sized plus should be perfect for basically everything. FOV is advised to be changed on target switching scenarios from the usual 103 Overwatch or 90 Source to 110 to 125 Overwatch or 100 to 110 Source. One extra tip or thing that helped me a lot is about the mentality you should have for training. For me it was that if I'm not the best, I'm bad, and accepting being bad is a relief, because you don't have to constantly worry about being the best. However, if you are number one, there's always room for improvement. So here you go. If you have any questions, you can DM me on my Discord or comment under the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it and that you'll be using these routines I've made for you. I've learned a lot from the community. Now I felt like it was my time to give something back to you guys. I love you all. See you in the next one, if there will be a next one, or there will be demand for the next one. Have a great day. Bye bye.